Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Wrestling Tonight. This is Hollywood Connelly with the double biceps. It is in the contract a legal requirement every single time we appear on camera. That may be a subtle clue there, ladies and gentlemen, a subtle clue. Yes, the man to my left, but could be to your right, depending on which side of the screen you are looking at. Hopefully it's the side with our images on it and not the back, which would be kind of pointless. But it is none other than the co-host, the co-founder, the co-breather of air, the co-wearer of clothes. In this very room, it is none other than the master of disaster, the king of sting, the count of Monte Cristo. It is Thunder Lips, the ultimate male. I shouldn't have looked. It is the Siberian Bull. It is the winner of the Dave Stockbridge of the Year Award, the illustrious award, held by the illustrious man with the illustrious beard. It is your friend and mine. It is none other than the one and only Dave Stockbridge.
Well, Hollywood Matt Connelly, it is an absolute pleasure to be here on Arm Wrestling Tonight with you once again. And the winner for tonight, the first comment to appear, comes from Hollywood Matt Connelly.
It comes from Lucky Wood, who runs the Lucky Ones podcast on every Saturday night. Please check it out. Supporting females in arm wrestling. Great to see you on here, Lucky. And yes, you're doing good things for the sport. And we're very supportive of anybody who is looking to do positive things in the world of arm wrestling.
Absolutely. Always wonderful to have you in the comments. Just slipping in there. Just a milliseconds too late to be walking away with the prize. And we did say there was a prize, and that will be a Hollywood Matt Connelly signed AWE t-shirt, and so that will be making its way all the way to the United States, and of which there are but a handful of AWE shirts in the United States. And so if you are found strolling around the US with one of these on, you are indeed one of the chosen ones. So congratulations, well done, and thank you to everybody who jumps in the comments every single night. Now we've got a very, very special announcement because we've got a very, very special guest that will be appearing. As a matter of fact, this particular individual, we're going to give it a little bit of time for people in the comments to maybe have some fun and maybe try and guess who this person is, and we will drop some subtle and some not so subtle little hints along the way, of course, as well. Is it Hollywood Matt Connelly's right bicep? Now, body parts excluded. This is our first hint is that it is indeed an entire human being, not just a body part, not just a bicep. It is indeed a human, as you would know and I would know, although it is a very special human being. This person will be handing out the AWE Intercontinental Belt on the 22nd of June to one of two men. And one of those men may be Brett Coots. The other one may be Matai Rungi, the Beast Heta Morris. So it will be one or it will be either of those men. It cannot be both. That is one thing. But one man will be handing out the belt, will be presenting the Intercontinental Belt. And this man has been a champion in his own right, although, next hint, not in this sport. But is it safe to say it is in another sport?
I believe it would be safe to say something like that if you dared to do it.
So this podcast is going to be more like a verbal game of guess who than anything else. And so yes, we're very excited to have this particular individual because although he's not of our sport, I think he is somewhat. It makes sense when you think about this man. It makes sense that he would be involved at some level in our sport. It just he is it fair to say he's a very powerful individual, a very strong individual. I think it is. I think that is fair to say.
Yes.
A very strong personality as well.
That's true. It's true. It does have something. This will be a nice clue for people. He does have something very much in common with Mike Tyson about his appearance.
He does. He does. He does. So
It
that
is not. It is not Mike Tyson, by the
I was
way.
going to say, is it Mike Tyson?
Is it Mike Spinal Tyson?
Anal.
Spinal.
So yeah, it's not C. It's not C.
You got to finish your words, Grant. What is
Oh,
C? What are you talking about?
it's not C.
It's not
Oh,
C.
Cindy. Is Cindy the baboon? Is what he's referring to. Cindy the baboon. So
How did you get that out of that?
very powerful individual, I think, is what he got out of it. No,
Oh.
less hairy than Cindy the baboon
Mm.
from TikTok and social media fame. But no, it is not Cindy the baboon, but. Maybe one of the few humans on Earth that could be physically stronger than a wild baboon. I mean, baboons are strong, pound for pound, very, very strong.
They are, and that
Yeah,
word is fun to say, baboon.
baboon.
Baboons to
Indeed,
the
it
left of
is.
me, baboons to the right.
Now, we did make that big announcement last night that Matarangi, the Beast Adam Morris, will be taking on Brett Coots for the AWE Intercontinental Belt on the 22nd of June. And we cannot wait to see that matchup. It is going to be massive. And of course, two huge individuals, two very, very powerful athletes, two men at the top of their game. We spoke about Matarangi coming back from some not necessarily. I guess you might refer it to being as an injury, but certainly some physical inhibitions that have stopped him from being able to access all of his strength. And it seems he's on top of that. He's in great shape. He's as strong as he's ever been. He's in peak condition. And I guess you can say very much the same thing with Brett Coots, who's had his niggles and had his micro tears and some issues. I know our American friends like that term, niggles. Love it.
You took my line. I was waiting for you to take a breath so I could say that word.
Would you like to say it?
No, it's all right.
Something quite liberating in saying the word.
Yeah, no, it's great.
Niggles.
But no, the joke for the people who aren't clueless to our in joke here is that in Australia, it's a common term to say if you have a small injury, it's a niggling injury, and you could say that the niggles in your shoulder or all that sort of thing. Obviously, very close to a hate crime in America.
That's right. So we do have Brett Coots in prime shape. He's coming off the back of a huge victory at AWE just a matter of weeks ago. He's now the left hand title holder, heavyweight champion, and so he's now looking to add to that collection of belts. And of course, Mate Arangi is looking to get one of those belts back onto his shoulder after a bit of a hiatus, and having lost his last AWE title belt to Todd Hutchins all the way back at AWE 2. And you can head over to the AWE Underground channel and watch that match right now if you want to. But he lost, but he didn't lose by much. But here's the match just more recently with Brett Coots and Rickett Bauman on left. I mean, the story of this match hasn't really been well told, and I think that there are people out there that say, look, a loss on left equals a loss on right. And what I would say to that is that is absolute rubbish. I think if you know what you're talking about, then you would quite quickly acknowledge that there are athletes that obviously have a preferred hand. Now, it just happens to be, in this case, left is Brett Coots's preferred hand. And as strong as he is on right, and as well as he's done at AWE events over the last couple of years, having come runner-up to Rickett Bauman in the last two AWE Grand Prix events on right hand, left hand is definitely his preferred hand. And what was the big shock with this particular matchup was how well Rickett Bauman did. Now, the real story of Rickett's performance here has not been well told, and I do want to share that for the benefit of arm wrestling fans around the world that have been following Rickett Bauman's journey. And he obviously, his preferred hand is right. He is still extremely strong on left, as evidenced by his matchup with Brett. A few things to understand here. Brett Coots has not been defeated on left hand in maybe 2 decades here in Australia. He is the OG on left. His left arm measures about half an inch bigger, to an inch bigger than his right. It's a 21-inch left arm.
And
It's
he's
just extraordinary.
right-handed.
And he's right-handed. Exactly. He is an absolute beast. And he's been itching for an opportunity to make left great again. Like he really wants to make sure that the world knows that left arm counts. And so this matchup meant a lot to Brett, and this belt meant a lot to him because he has been a lone ambassador for left arm wrestling in this country for some time. And one of the struggles for Brett on left is finding a worthy adversary, and one of the difficulties for AWE is finding somebody who can put up a good fight against Brett. And when Rika at our last event suggested this would be something he'd be interested in, Brett was excited, we were excited, but then Brett fell short, having injured himself, having experienced one of those niggles in the lead up to his last event, and he also suffered from a virus in the final weeks of his preparation, which led Brett to not feel that it was the right time to put his lineal champion status on the line. But so that match got held over, and Rickett still had a match, but with Marcus Atirai, which again you can see that match on the AWE YouTube channel, and it was a very entertaining match. But Rickett walked away with that one comfortably in the end. Now, fast forward to this event. Now, Rickett Borman goes back to South Africa most Christmases, spends time with his family. Normally comes back 5 to 7 kilos heavier and 20% stronger when he does. He's returned from South Africa, and there's been what many outside of Australia wouldn't realise is that there's been some huge weather conditions in Queensland. There's a huge cyclone. There's been flooding, and that's the part of the world that Rickett calls home when he is in Australia. And Rickett is a tradie, he's a tradesman. He works in carpentry, and so there's been a huge call for all persons up there in Queensland, and they're basically having to rebuild houses every day. And of course, these are insurance jobs. People are homeless until such times they can move back into their homes. So it's a high pressure work environment, and they're really under the pump to get these people back into their homes, so families can go back to life once again. And so Rickett's kind of parachuted back home into Australia after being in South Africa over the summer months here on the southern hemisphere, and has found himself in a whirlwind of work. And he's been working 15-hour days, had not had any time to train. He was eating some days only one meal a day. And I mean, Rickett was explaining only a matter of weeks before this event that he was sitting around 130 kilos. And so a big man like that, only having one meal a day on some days, working 15 to 16-hour days, hard manual labor. Rickett has spent no time on the table, no time preparing, no time with his club mates at all. So there was no table time at all for him. He was so exhausted at the end of every day, and where he's working at the moment is quite isolated, and so he's not been able to even get to a gym. So his preparation for this event
couldn't have been better.
Was outstanding. And a lot of athletes, when presented with a preparation like that, and with the expectations that Rickett has on him now as being this phenom in the sport of arm wrestling, this undefeated, seemingly unbeatable man on right hand, might have just not bothered. Might have just said, look, hey guys, I've not been eating well. I've not been training well. I haven't been able to get even on the table. I think I'm just going to sit this one out. Thanks, but no thanks. There's a big match against Brett. Brett's formidable. I'm just going to just leave me out of it. But not once did Rickett Borman even reach out to say, that he was going to back out or that he was having hesitations. He made the commitment to compete, and he didn't back down an inch. Now, if you go back to some of our episodes as we were getting closer and closer to this event, and we did have a couple of episodes with Rickett Borman on, there was a fascinating discussion of back and forth between Brett and Rickett over their respective preparations. And Brett was primed. Brett was making it very, very clear that this was really important to him. He was working really hard in the gym. He was maxing out on all of his lifts, that he'd never had a better preparation, that he was injury-free and never felt so good. And Rickett, on the other hand, was saying, I'm having one meal a day. I can't train at the moment. I can't get to the gym. And a lot of people just thought that this was Rickett just kind of downplaying his chances against an athlete of such high status as Brett. But it was 100% the truth, and it would have been very, very easy for Rickett just to say, nope, look, I'm out. I'm coming up against prime Brett Coots here, the man that's not been defeated on left, and I haven't given my all to the preparation. I'm not going to sacrifice my reputation for this, but he did not, and he turned up on the day in good humour, and he gave it his absolute best. And what we saw at this event, and what now over 18,000 people have seen on YouTube, is an absolute war. Every round was a war. And right at the end of the event, there's a quote from Brett Coots that says, that was the hardest match I've ever had. And if this match is in 6 months' time, I don't think I'd be winning. And that is Rickett Borman without any preparation on his weak hand, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah. Yeah. Going up against an absolute champion in Brett Coots.
World class. Brett Coots is world class on left.
Who's primed, he's ready, and he's motivated. And Rickett, 15-hour days, no food, no training, and he still pushes Brett to the absolute limit. What an absolute incredible match. And credit to both guys there. And I do really like that you highlighted that he could have at any time said, I'm not going to go through with this. There's too many factors that are preventing me from being able to perform at my highest potential. None of that. He was just excited. He wanted to have the match. I think he just absolutely loves the sport, loves performing, loves being in front of all the people that are there and being around the other arm wrestlers. And that's his driving factor. He wants to be world elite. And he looks like he's moving up that rank pretty quickly. But yes, he is of that champion mindset that you want to throw this difficulty at me, these obstacles where, okay, I can't train, I can't eat, all these other things, and I'm going against the guy who's never been beaten. I'll still turn up and give it my best shot. I love that attitude. And we've seen in the past when the night before events or the day before events, the amount of athletes that pull out and the pressure just gets to them. It's insane. I was blown away in many occasions when people that I thought were a shoo-in to turn up and put on a fantastic performance because they'd been training, they'd been peaking, they'd been talking about it, they were motivated for it the night before. I'm not coming.
Yeah.
It's like, what do you mean? And that happened not with just a couple, but a lot of people. It's
happened more than you'd like to know. And here's the other thing. You forgive those athletes because they're young. They mightn't have a lot of experience in these high pressure situations. But Rickett Borman, we forget, is only 21 years of age.
Yeah.
Rickett Borman is also one of the most hyped arm wrestling athletes on the planet at the moment. He had a lot to lose by not winning this, potentially.
Yep.
This might not have been as close. And I don't even know what Rickett Borman's expectations were of himself in this event. but I don't think he held high expectations of winning. But he gave it his absolute all. And as you can see, he pulled out every stop, every round. He made Brett Coots work for every inch on that table. And there was no way possible Rickett Borman was ever going to not turn up. And once he turned up, not give it his absolute all. And that is the true mark of a champion. That is the true mark of somebody who wants to be a master of their craft. It's a true representation as to what and of the ethic that we want to see personified in our sport, and it's why I am such a huge Rickett Borman fan. His parents have done such a good job of creating an athlete, nurturing, I should say, and well, they did create him, I guess. They can take credit for that as well. But they've nurtured a young man who is of high moral standing, who is has such integrity, who has such passion and such belief in himself and backs himself regardless. His parents must be enormously proud of their son, and he is somebody who we obviously are going to see a lot more of in the years to come. But the reason why this young man is going to be in the conversation for many years is not just because of his physical prowess and his natural gifts as an athlete. It is because of the man's heart and desire to follow through and to give whatever it is the task in front of him might be his absolute all. And he's earned even more fans with this loss, I think, than he has with the accumulated wins so far. And it's been with some degree of frustration that story, from my perspective, that story hasn't shone through. There are those people in the arm wrestling media ecosystem that have chosen not to cover this event and who've chosen to kind of ignore this and felt that maybe they'd be hurting Rickett's hype train by shining a light on this loss. But look, you can have a loss in the sport, but there was no loss to this man's prestige. There was no loss in this man's momentum. There was no loss of fans as a result of Rickett Borman's performance on that day in March 2025. So, they're my thoughts.
Oh, I think you wrapped it up quite nicely there. The story that most people probably didn't know or weren't aware of, and Rickett is the kind of man that he's not going to go out there and make excuses. He's not going to say, "Hey, I had all these issues and obstacles." He wouldn't say that ever. He wouldn't tell anybody. He probably didn't even think of them as obstacles, really. He was just like, "Okay, I've got the match. That's what I'm doing. I'm going to the match." Yeah, it's fantastic. And then what an amazing event to come together. We had that match there with Brett Coots and Rickett Borman, obviously the AWE 3 Grand Prix, the 85 kilo and under tournament, which we saw several upsets take place. We also had a Titans tournament after that, which ran, and geez, the amount of upsets in and Danny Wojcik, who came out as his third time ever arm wrestling. He's I don't know, 18, 19 years old, or maybe even younger. He might be 17, and he stepped on the table and just destroyed everybody in the heavyweight division. Won the right arm heavyweight tournament in his first go at it 3 weeks into the sport.
Crazy. Do we have the next Rickett Borman on our hands? Maybe we do. So keep an eye out for Danny Wojcik. He is a man on a trajectory at the moment. And what I found really really heartening in his performance as well is he was chatting to Brett just a little bit before the heavyweights were called upon to perform, and it seemed that Brett had a bit of a soft spot for young Danny, and came back on several occasions to help coach him through that victory as well. And it was just fantastic to almost see like this. I won't say passing of the bat, because I think Brett's got many good years still left in front of him, but Brett being so open in sharing with him his experience, and offering his advice, and nurturing that next generation of talent. And it was just one of those special behind the scenes moments that I felt very privileged to be in witness of on that day. And it is just one of the great joys of being a part of the AWE, that that it really has become a platform for these young athletes to springboard from, and find themselves, on internationally recognised, and as Rickard Borman has. And we hope for the same for Danny, and for Ash, and all of the guys who came along to the tournament and performed after the middleweights, and of course the heavyweights on left.
Yeah, well, that's one of the fun things about the sport, is seeing somebody like Brett Coots getting excited about a young prospect, and like almost running over and being like, "I got to tell you what to do, because I can tell you're really strong, but you're not doing." But like, how long have you been doing this for? It's like, it's my third time.
It's crazy.
Okay, just keep doing what you're doing, because you're not going to understand anything that I try to tell you. Incredible.
We're in the dying moments of tonight's podcast, and we still haven't revealed who it is that will be our very, very special guest.
We've got a bunch of people in here now. We should put it out there. We'll give them maybe 1 minute, 2 minutes, something like that.
Okay.
Have a guess.
So, okay, so maybe we'll run through. If people want to quickly have a stab in the dark, what would be let's say the winner will receive, if they're able to be here in Australia, they'll receive a ticket. If they're not able to be here in Australia, then they will have the ability to give away this ticket to one of their arm wrestling friends, if they want to be cage side for this very special AWE Intercontinental matchup between Mateo Rungi, the Beast, Heather Morris, and Brett Coots, and we'll be there in person, and maybe sit next to the very, very special AWE guest at this event, who will be handing out the belt. Now, this man, maybe I'll just ask you some questions, and maybe we'll see who chimes in on the comments as well. And so the prize is a ticket to the event. So is he from Australia?
He is from Australia.
Okay. Is he tall?
He is not a tall man. 5'4", I believe.
5'4".
Yeah, it's not Tom Cruise, but
is he? Does he have dark hair?
No. Quite the opposite. Brian Shaw says, like, I think you missed the first clue that he was Australian.
And 5'4".
And 5'4". and doesn't have dark hair. But that would be cool. We would love to see that.
Now, you did mention that he does share some facial characteristics with Mike Tyson. So is he black?
He is not black, no. But we've got another guest here from France McGee. She says, is it Alexander Volkanovski, who is a UFC fighter? Is it Alexander Volkanovski, Dave?
It is not. It is not the UFC lightweight champion. Yes. He's. Is he a
Webster?
Is he? Is he a former champion in his own right?
Absolutely.
Is he an arm wrestling champion?
No.
Is he? Is he muscular?
Very muscular. Extremely.
Is he still a competing athlete?
I don't think he competes anymore, but he is still training and looking like he could step back into that at any moment.
Okay, David Jansen asks, is it Coach Ray,
Not an arm wrestler.
Australia's #1 Latvian arm wrestling athlete?
Really good Australian accent that Coach Ray
Very
has.
good. He's very good. He's very good.
Is it Engen?
Is it Engen?
Also a good Australian accent.
Is he big on social media?
Yes.
Okay. Is he a controversial figure?
Oh yeah.
Is he a
Oh,
is he blonde?
he is.
Is he does he have a facial tattoo like Mike Tyson?
He does.
Is he white?
He is.
Is he 5'4"?
He is.
Is he very muscular?
He is very muscular.
Is he a former bodybuilding champion?
He is.
Did he ever place 4th at the Mr. Olympia event?
Unofficially, but
Actually 6th.
Yep.
Does he have the trophy for positioning 4th in
He
the
does.
Mr. Olympia event? Did he ever tease Arnold? Did he tease Arnold Schwarzenegger in their very first encounter at Gold's Gym because of Arnold Schwarzenegger's skinny legs?
He did.
Okay. Does he go by any other names?
He does. He has
Is
an
the
official
Blonde
name.
Myth one of those names?
The Blonde Myth is the nickname bestowed upon this gentleman.
Did Grant Law get this right?
Grant Law has nailed it. It is none other than the absolute legend of bodybuilding from the Australian world here. It is Lee Priest. And
look at those biceps. Why isn't this man arm wrestling? Lee Priest is now 54 years old. At the tender age of 16, he stepped onto the arm wrestling stage and asserted his dominance in Australian arm wrestling, beating out many of the biggest names in the sport at the time. He earned his pro card at a very, very early age and found himself on the IFBB stage, and at just 20 years of age was performing on the biggest stages of the arm wrestling world in the US. He had risen to 4th on the Mr. Olympia stage, having controversially then been demoted to 6th. He did win the Night of Champions, having been one of the few individuals to beat Ronnie Coleman whilst Ronnie was in his prime. He is none other than Lee Priest, and Lee Priest is still to this very day a hugely muscular man. Still remains controversial to this moment. Is still very much at the heart and epicenter of the biggest controversies in the world of bodybuilding, but more importantly, he is a man that never backs down. He is the embodiment of never give up, and he is the man that whatever the odds, whatever it is, he finds a way through. And as he says, never call him small, just call the other ones tall, because he is the biggest of them all, and he is Lee Priest. And wow, we are super excited to have Lee Priest presenting the AWE Intercontinental Belt here in Adelaide on the 22nd of June. And Grant Law will be there in person, and will be maybe even sitting next to Lee Priest. Who will know? Who knows? I'll tell you what, I think Grant Law will be coming out to dinner with us the night before the event with Lee Priest, if he can find a way to talk his way out of a roast dinner with his wife on the Saturday night, and he can come out and enjoy the company of the great Blonde Myth, the man, the legend, Lee Priest, ladies and gentlemen. Here is a man I've been super keen to expose to the world of arm wrestling for some time, and he is very graciously accepting our invitation to be a part of our next event. And I absolutely cannot wait to see what this man thinks of AWE, what he thinks of Brett Coots, what he thinks of Mateo Rangi, the Beasthead of Morrison, and we really hope that he enjoys his experience here in Adelaide, and that he walks away with a newfound passion for the sport of arm wrestling.
Oh, absolutely. Probably the most successful Australian bodybuilder that has ever lived. And at 20 years old, the physique on this gentleman, unbelievable. Even now at 54, I saw a video recently. He can't squat deep because his hamstrings hit his calves.
He's so big.
He can't get any lower. His hamstring on the back of his leg is squashed up against the calf muscle. He can't. At 54.
He's an amazing individual. We absolutely cannot wait. I know Hollywood Matt Connelly is a massive fan, and not just a fan of Lee Priest, a fan of the sport, but of bodybuilding. Having been a bodybuilder himself and having competed on the big stages as well, he knows what it takes to be on the stage, let alone to be on the biggest stages of the world. And so it's going to be with great expectations that we have Lee as part of the event. So super excited. Just keep him away from me. I'm not signing autographs and taking selfies with you. Yeah, we know how that annoys you, Grant. But it is going to be your birthday, so we hope you enjoy that. The 22nd of June in Adelaide, and it's we hope to see everybody out there. That's part of the TFC 22 event, which is taking place. You can buy tickets now by heading over to diamondbackfc.com.au, and you can secure your tickets right now. Front row tickets are going for about $150, and but you can certainly get general admission, and I'm sure that'll still buy you the chance to shake the hand of the blonde myth, Lee Priest. So that's our big news for tonight, and we can't wait to share with you more bombshell news in the world of AWE tomorrow night. Actually, I don't think we've got anything as exciting tomorrow night, but we will be back tomorrow night. We will be back tomorrow night. Hollywood Matt Connelly, did you want to go through any of the comments before we go away?
Sure. Well, we'll say hello to everyone who has jumped in and left a comment. And it was Lucky from the Lucky Ones podcast that did get the winning first comment of the night. Won it by a significant margin, actually. Well done to you, Lucky. Grant Law is here, obviously. He is the winner of the Guest the Celebrity at the AWE event, which is going to be Lee Priest, the Australian bodybuilding champion. And Grant Law has the opportunity now to not only meet Lee, but maybe he gets to sit next to him. We'll see how it all irons out. Hopefully we'll get him on the arm wrestling table at some point. That would be amazing.
Wouldn't that be interesting?
Oh, God. Richard Jennings is also here. He has won the first comment of the night twice. He's in the lead. I did say that I would have we run over a month or something like that, and the person who wins it the most. Yeah, but we'll figure it out.
It's a point system.
It's very convoluted, and as confusing as we can make it, so that we don't have to follow through.
Perfect. The types of competitions we like here at AWE.
Yeah. Phil Woody is here from the UK. He says, more awesome AEW live source. Happy St. George's Day to
Happy St.
George. Who is St. George, Dave?
Patron saint of England. He and Georgia. But he St. George, he fought the dragon.
That's the guy.
Yep.
Right. Very good. David Jensen is also here. He has his own podcast going for arm wrestling in Canada. Who else we got? Siren Franch McGee has jumped in right at the end here. She says evening to everybody, and we'll skip through because we had some funny guesses at the potential here. This one I did enjoy. Sap the Bee. No, it is not Sap the Bee. It is Lee Priest. Jordan Osborne. No, it is Lee Priest. As Grant Law pointed out, and we'll just All right. Mr. Peanut has made an appearance from the Peanut Gallery. Well done to Mr. Peanut for stepping in right at
Thank
the
you.
end here. And
Thank you.
apparently he slayed the dragon. Okay.
You did.
He did. Well, we've got Anzac Day tomorrow here in Australia. So we'll be celebrating that. Not celebrating, but we'll be
Commemorating.
Honoring and commemorating the heroes of the Australian and New Zealand Army who have defended this country against tyranny around the world. So, yeah, that's the comments for you there, Dave.
Yeah, absolutely wonderful. I think that's not tomorrow. I think that's on Friday. So
what day is it today? It's Wednesday.
It's Wednesday. So we're a day out. So we will be back tomorrow night.
Friday.
We won't be here on Friday. That is a hallowed day on the Australian calendar where we do honour those that have fought for Australia. Of course, it all stems from commemorating the Gallipoli landing with the Australians and New Zealanders who fought valiantly on the beaches of Gallipoli, and since then has come to be that day that embodies the sacrifice of all those that have served our nations, our respective nations, in war, in peacetime, but have worn the uniform and sacrificed themselves in one way, shape, or form for our freedoms. And so, in memory of those people that made the ultimate sacrifice, and in commemoration of those that still serve us in that capacity to this day, we will not be going live on Anzac Day, but we will be back next Monday, and we will be here tomorrow night with more bombshell AWE news that we need to make up in the meantime, because just kind of run out of stuff to share at this stage. 2 big announcements this week already. It's a short week, and yet, we've got AWE Intercontinental Belt that's just been announced. That a big matchup between Brett and Mateo Rungi. We've got Lee Priest has been the big announcement tonight, and of course, it leaves us a little bit short of things to talk about tomorrow. But anyway, we'll work something out. So thank you very much to everybody in the comments. Thank you very much to Hollywood Matt Connelly, and to arm wrestling fans around the world. We can't wait to bring you more tomorrow night on Arm Wrestling Tonight.
Thank you, ladies and gentlemen.